When it comes to raising money for yourself or your church plant, there are a lot of things to consider and work through in order to do that effectively. And so today on Practical Church Planting, we're going to give you 6 tips for raising support.
Welcome back to Practical Church Planting, where in 15 minutes or less, we'll give you practical tips, advice, and encouragement to help you plant and grow healthy churches. My name is Brian Androsian. Joining me is Dylan Dodson, who looks like he's trying to hold back a yawn.
You got me, man.
Today, we're talking about 6 tips for raising support.
Oh, man, I was called out. This is just so much fun. All right, 6 tips for raising support. We've done an episode in the past about raising support, but it's been a while, and I think it was a little bit different than this.
Yeah.
And so you could think of this in terms of raising support for a church plant, but this is probably more practically helpful for yourself. So whether you're joining a church or maybe you're just raising your own support on staff. So you could these are principles though still do apply for like raising money for a church overall, but this is more specifically just to the individual or family level. Yeah. So 6 tips in any particular order. Here's the first one. In person is always best. Now, some of these things may be somewhat familiar or you may have heard before, maybe you just need to be reminded. In person is always the best. What I see the most is particularly the younger somebody is, because they've never done stuff like this before, it's intimidating, is they'll just send a bunch of letters. And maybe if they get really into it, they'll send a bunch of emails.
Yeah.
They won't call anybody, and they certainly won't ask for a meeting. Yeah. I can think back to when we were raising support, not for the church, but for the residency that we were doing before we planted the church. Every single we probably end up having 10 to 12 in-person meetings with people who live in the area. All of them gave, except for one couple, and all of them gave what we asked. We were asking for $100 a month or more, which was a complete shock. The only couple that didn't, it was the randomest thing. Like, as soon as we made their ask, like, changed the subject. And then, like, never, it was just like, what, I was like, what just happened? Like, we did this whole spiel, and like they asked something else, and then I was like, it was weird. I don't even know what happened there. But everybody else did, so that's over a 90% rate, and they all gave what we asked or more. And so it is the best. It's the most effective way. They can hear your story. I mean, phone calls is second, but the people that live in your area, and if you think they're maybe a significant giver, maybe drive if it's possible. But always ask people in person. It's the most intimidating, but there's nothing that comes close to its effectiveness.
I agree. It's probably the hardest way to do it, but the most effective way to do it. Not hard in a sense of difficult, but it's just the most intimidating. And what I was gonna say until you said that, and it caught me. It took me off my guard. But yeah, I think so. When we raised support, we live far away from where we grew up. We grew up on the other side of the country, and so it was hard to meet with a lot of people in person. But what I found is people that we actually got a chance to talk to. Some we had to resort to over the phone, or some we couldn't even get a hold of and had to send things to. But the people that we talked to a lot of times had questions, and not bad questions, but just legitimate questions. And it's much easier if you're in a conversation to answer those questions than to send an email and then reply to it with a question and then reply to them, and it just kind of fizzles out. You know, it's much easier to address these things right up front. And you can really only do that if you're talking to them.
And it sounds bad now, but because we're in ministry, we've got friends, we know people that like will ask us for support. If they don't ask to meet or have a phone call, unless it's like one of our college students that are going on like summer things, which happens here, I don't even like. We can't give to everybody, and it's just like, and I feel bad, but like if you're not willing to do that, I just can't. We don't give to them. And again, just to make it easier, it's not like you want to surprise them. So I wouldn't say, hey, I would love to meet with you to ask how you can give, but you can say things like, we have this opportunity, we'd love to partner with you. Like, people know what you're saying, so like, don't blindside them, but don't be afraid. The worst that they can say is no.